Right now, as you listen to my voice, your mind is probably somewhere else. You might be planning an email you need to write later. You might be replaying a tense conversation from yesterday. You are likely holding your breath without even realizing it. Your thumbs are ready to keep scrolling. Harvard researchers discovered something terrifying a few years ago. They found that for almost half of our waking hours, exactly 47% of the time, our minds are drifting away from the present moment. We are locked in a state of constant low-grade anticipation. But this is not just a problem of feeling distracted or unhappy. This is the exact reason your biology is breaking down. When your brain is endlessly trapped in tomorrow, it locks your physical body into the sympathetic nervous system. You know this state as fight or flight. Think about it. You cannot properly break down food, absorb nutrients, or fall into deep restorative sleep if your brain fundamentally believes a predator is chasing you. And right now, your modern lifestyle is telling your nervous system that the predator is always there. This chronic hyperarousal is destroying your digestion and shattering your sleep mechanics. I spent years in Japan, and today I want to share 8 ancient concepts with you. But we are not looking at them as mere cultural habits. These are 8 specific biological tools. They act as manual override switches for your autonomic nervous system, pulling you out of fight or flight and forcing your body to heal. The first one directly targets your racing mind. The final one is the ultimate cure for 3 a.m. panic. Let us begin. The first tool is called Ichigo Ichie. It originates from the Japanese tea ceremony. It translates to one time, one meeting. A tea master prepares a room knowing this exact moment will never happen again. But biologically, this is a cognitive anchoring protocol. When your mind is already living in tomorrow, your brainwaves operate in a high-frequency beta state. Your body pumps out cortisol to prepare for the future events you are imagining. Your heart beats with a rigid and inflexible rhythm. You are biologically stressed by things that have not happened yet. Ichigo Ichie stops this. When you recognize that the meal in front of you, or the evening sitting in your quiet living room, will never occur exactly this way again, you force your brain into the present second. This shift acts like a heavy anchor dropped from a speeding ship. It forces your beta brainwaves to slow down. It increases your heart rate variability. A higher heart rate variability means your nervous system is flexible, calm, and completely safe. You cannot just jump into bed or sit down to eat while your brain is speeding at 100 miles an hour. You need a transition. Ichigo Ichie is the physiological warm-up your body requires. It shifts your internal state, so digestion and deep rest become physically possible. In Japan, before any meal, there is a physical ritual. Hands are pressed together, a slight bow is made, and a single word is spoken. Itadakimasu. It translates to, I humbly receive. To the untrained eye, this looks like a polite cultural habit, or a brief moment of gratitude. But under a biological lens, this 2-second pause is a highly advanced neurotrigger. Digestion does not actually begin in your stomach. It begins in your brain. This is a clinically documented process called the cephalic phase of digestion. When you stop, look at your food, smell it, and consciously acknowledge it, your brain sends electrical signals down to your gastrointestinal tract. It is priming the engine before the fuel arrives. Most of us eat while standing at a kitchen counter, arguing on the phone, or scrolling through endless digital feeds. When you do this, your brain is actively locked in a sympathetic stress state. Because your brain thinks you are in danger, blood is directed away from your stomach and pushed into your arms and legs. Gastric acid production halts. The digestive engine is completely cold. If you force food into a cold engine, the result is immediate bloating, internal inflammation, and severe nutrient malabsorption. The food basically sits in your gut and ferments rather than providing fuel. Itadakimasu is the manual override. Taking a deep breath, pressing your hands together, and intentionally pausing for 2 seconds physically stimulates your vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the massive communication highway running directly from your brainstem to your gut. Activating this nerve instantly commands your body to drop the fight or flight response. It forcefully shifts you into the parasympathetic state known clinically as rest and digest. Blood rushes back to your stomach. Acid floods in. Enzymes activate. But why does this matter so much for your sleep? The biological connection is absolute. Your gut microbiome produces the vast majority of your body's serotonin. Serotonin is the direct chemical precursor to melatonin, which is your primary sleep hormone. If your gut is inflamed and unable to absorb amino acids because you ate in a state of stress, your body cannot synthesize serotonin. Without serotonin, your brain has nothing to convert into melatonin at night. You will lie in bed staring at the dark ceiling, entirely unaware that your insomnia started 12 hours earlier because you inhaled your lunch while reading the news. Ancient Eastern medical traditions spoke of aligning the body's energy meridians before a meal to ensure vital life force could flow. Modern neuroscience simply calls it vagal tone and parasympathetic activation. A 2-second pause to humbly receive your food is not just good manners. It is the absolute foundation of deep healing sleep. The modern pursuit of perfect health has become an overwhelming trap. You are told you need the perfect room temperature, 12 different daily supplements, and a flawless 45-minute sunrise routine just to get a decent night of sleep. This intense pressure creates performance anxiety. Before you even attempt to heal, your brain views these massive routines as an impossible mountain. This depletes your dopamine and locks you into behavioral paralysis. You end up doing nothing at all. In Japan, there is a gentle cure for this paralysis. The word is Toriaezu. In daily conversation, it simply means, for now. It is the practice of starting with whatever small action is immediately available. In the realm of clinical neurobiology, we call this the minimum effective dose. Toriaezu commands you to shrink the stakes of your physiological optimization. You do not need a strict 45-minute sun-gazing session to reset a broken circadian rhythm. You step outside and let natural photons hit your retinas for 60 seconds. For now. You do not need to completely overhaul your diet this afternoon. You drink one single glass of water before your coffee. For now. When you drastically lower the barrier to entry, your brain no longer perceives the new habit as a threat. You completely bypass the resistance of the amygdala. You protect your baseline dopamine levels. You stop waiting for the perfect Monday to fix your biology. You just take one microscopic step. For now. Once you have started, you must understand how human biology actually adapts. We often try to heal our bodies in frantic, heroic bursts. We attempt a massive weekend detox to fix years of digestive damage. But biology does not respond well to sudden physiological violence. It responds to Kotsu-Kotsu. Kotsu-Kotsu is a soft phrase. It sounds like a small, steady tapping. In the world of neuroscience, this steady tapping is the exact mechanism of neuroplasticity. Every time you repeat a small action like the 2-second pause before eating or stepping outside for morning light, your brain sends an electrical signal down a specific neural pathway. If you only do this once, the signal is weak. But if you apply Kotsu-Kotsu, doing it a little bit every single day, something physical happens inside your skull. Your brain begins wrapping that specific neural pathway in a white fatty substance called myelin. Think of myelin as thick rubber insulation around a bare copper electrical wire. The thicker the insulation, the faster and more automatic the electrical signal becomes. Clinical researchers know it takes an average of 2 months of daily repetition for a new behavior to become effortless. That is exactly how long it takes for your brain to build a mature myelin sheath. You cannot rush this structural change. You cannot rebuild the millions of microscopic cells lining your gut or permanently reset your dopamine baseline over a single weekend. It requires the quiet, unglamorous work of daily physical regeneration. Small, steady signals. Kotsu-Kotsu. This is how a bulletproof nervous system is built. The fifth tool shifts our focus from how we spend our time to the physical space we inhabit. The Japanese call this Seiton. It translates to giving every single object a fixed and permanent home. Your keys, your glasses, your charger, they all live in one chosen spot. But this is not just about home organization. It is a spatial biohack designed to control your endocrine system. Researchers at an American university once studied how people described their own homes. The results were biological. Those who lived in cluttered, unfinished spaces showed a constantly disrupted, unhealthy rhythm of the stress hormone cortisol. Why does a messy room change your hormones? Your eyes are always scanning your environment for danger. When every surface is covered in random displaced objects, your brain registers hundreds of visual micro-stressors. It sends a subconscious threat signal directly to your amygdala. You experience this as a low background hum of tension in your body. Here is the fundamental biological law of rest. Melatonin, your master sleep hormone, cannot adequately flow if cortisol is active in your bloodstream. If your bedroom is full of chaotic, homeless items, your nervous system is forced to remain vigilant. Seiton clears your visual field. It stops the silent daily leak of cortisol. It creates the precise physiological safety your brain requires to build deep sleep architecture. The natural partner to a fixed physical home is Seiso. It simply means to clean as you go, but do not confuse this with basic housekeeping. This is a highly effective protocol for reducing cognitive load and curing sleep onset insomnia. In behavioral psychology, there is a well-documented phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect. It states that the human brain strongly remembers incomplete tasks, but quickly forgets finished ones. Think of your brain like a computer. Every time you leave a crusted pan in the sink for tomorrow, or avoid writing a difficult email, you open a background application. You create an open cognitive loop. These open loops drain massive amounts of mental energy throughout your day. But the real biological damage happens at night. These open loops are the exact reason you suffer from racing thoughts the moment your head hits the pillow. When you finally try to rest, your brain goes into a state of alert. It frantically reviews all those unfinished tasks to ensure you do not forget them. The system simply refuses to shut down. Seiso is the ancient biohack for this modern chaos. You wash the single cup right now. You hang the coat up immediately. By cleaning as you move through your day, you are systematically closing these cognitive loops. You are actively clearing your brain's cache. By the time night falls, your mental desktop is completely empty. This allows for a rapid, effortless transition into deep sleep. The Japanese have a warm, non-judgmental word called tsundoku. It is the gentle art of buying books and letting them pile up unread by your bed. But today, tsundoku points to a much larger biological crisis. It points to our modern dopamine burnout. We no longer just hoard books. We hoard health optimization data. We buy new biohacking gadgets, unread online courses, and bottles of exotic supplements we never open. We endlessly scroll late at night, acquiring new information about how to fix our broken bodies. Here is the neurochemical trap. The simple act of acquiring these things gives your brain a cheap synthetic hit of dopamine. We quietly confuse buying the thing with actually doing the thing. The purchase tricks your nervous system into feeling like you made physiological progress. But this relentless late-night consumption destroys your sleep architecture. Dopamine is an alerting neurotransmitter. When you spike your dopamine levels at 10 o'clock at night by acquiring new things or scrolling for new data, you aggressively block the natural accumulation of adenosine. Adenosine is the chemical that builds up in your brain to create sleep pressure. Without it, you will not feel tired. Your brain stays artificially wired. The biological fix is gentle. Stop consuming. Use what you already own. Read the physical book on your nightstand. Use the equipment you already bought. Let your brain's reward circuit cool down. There is profound neurological relief in closing the gap between what we frantically acquire and what we actually use. The eighth tool took me years to truly understand. In Japan, during difficult moments, you will often hear the phrase shikata ga nai. It translates to "it cannot be helped." For a long time, I thought this meant passive surrender. But biologically, this is the ultimate protocol for the most terrifying part of the night. The 3 in the morning. Wake up. When you wake up in the middle of the night and cannot fall back asleep, what happens? You look at the clock. You calculate how exhausted you will be tomorrow. You get angry. You panic. This mental struggle is highly destructive to your nervous system. Your brain interprets your frustration as a literal physical threat. Your amygdala fires. It instantly dumps adrenaline and cortisol straight into your bloodstream. By fighting the reality that you are awake, you guarantee that you will stay awake. You stack a massive layer of physiological stress on top of the original problem. Shikata ga nai is an amygdala deactivation switch. It is meant only for the things you genuinely cannot change in that exact moment. The rain falling outside, the train that is already late, the fact that you are currently awake in the dark. When you apply shikata ga nai, you stop fighting reality. You gently set down the second layer of suffering. You tell your brain that being awake is not a predator. The moment you truly accept this, your amygdala powers down, the adrenaline stops flowing, you sever the feedback loop of panic. And paradoxically, by accepting that you are awake, your body finally slips back into the parasympathetic state needed to pull you back under. These are not just 8 quiet cultural habits. They are precise biological tools designed to rebuild your failing digestion and repair your shattered sleep mechanics. Anchoring your cognitive state with Ichigo Ichie, engaging your vagus nerve to humbly receive fuel, shrinking the stakes of optimization for now, building a thick myelin sheath through steady daily action, clearing visual cortisol triggers in your physical space, closing open cognitive loops by cleaning as you go, stopping the synthetic dopamine cycle of endless consumption, deactivating the amygdala in the dark when it cannot be helped. You do not need to implement all 8 of these tools tonight. Attempting that would just create another massive cortisol spike. Choose the one concept that made the most sense to your exhausted nervous system. Try it tomorrow morning. Toriaezu, just for now. If this framework brought you a moment of physical relief today, you might belong here. On this channel, we will continue to explore the absolute edge of human biological optimization. We do this exactly where modern Western science meets ancient Japanese secrets. Subscribe and stay a while. Let your nervous system finally heal. And remember, as you take a deep breath right now, you will never get this exact moment again. Ichigo Ichie.